Hey, you guys, what's up? How y'all doing? Listen, if you guys haven't heard, I'm covering the Sean Diddy Combs trial live. I was in court. Go watch the live. I gave my first impressions about all the messes going on. But we got to talk about the twins. Okay, there are rumors going around that the twins left the court during Diddy's trial. That's kind of true and kind of not true. They were in there for when the Smex worker testified. However, when he started going into detail of everything that Diddy did to Cassie, baby, they realized, oh, this isn't a good look. And they got out of there. However, they did not stay gone. Listen, I want to say this, okay? I do want to say this because let's get into this. First of all, I think it's actually disgusting, right? And I mean disgusting, that they're trying to tell us, because I was in court. The opening arguments, Tanya Garagos, that's Diddy's defense attorney, did a good job. But the opening arguments were trying to convince us that, and honestly, if I didn't know the facts, I'd be like, oh, okay, maybe it's not that bad. Are trying to convince us that they just had an unorthodox lifestyle. First of all, Diddy's daughter shouldn't be in court, period. But the fact of the matter is, they're not saying what he did to Cassie didn't happen. They're saying it's not illegal. And if you truly had 3 girls and the way you treated Cassie was so horrible that their delicate little ears can't even be in court, but you're trying to say this was a lifestyle, but you know who was in court? Your boys. And do you know who we need to be worried about? The fact that you had your boys around us, to the fact that they can listen, but your delicate daughters have to leave. Y'all, listen, let's get into this. Anyway, I'm going to read the article from People magazine, but keep in mind that I was there, so I'm going to add my own little flavor to what was going on. I'm going to be live all day tomorrow, please. And I believe Cassie is testifying tomorrow, so it's going to be a really, really good day. They said Sean Diddy Combs' 3 daughters left the courtroom during the Smex workers' graphic testimony. They didn't leave, oddly enough, until he started talking about the way Cassie was scared and he was always seeing Diddy lay hands on them. They said the daughter left the courtroom in the middle of a Smex Crimes trial when a male Smex worker gave testimony involving graphic and lurid details of the music mogul's alleged activities. Again, why do you even have your daughters there? Diddy has a witness list. He knows the days the Smex workers are going to be testifying. Why'd you have your daughters there? It's not a good look. Daniel Phillip, a male escort, alleged in Manhattan court on Monday, May 12th, that he had been paid by Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, to have Smex with her as Diddy sat in the corner watching them while he also testified that he witnessed Diddy becoming violent toward Cassie. Now, here's the thing. If y'all watch my live, y'all already know. Let me go over the details of what happened, because I was there. He actually said that Diddy said that Cassie said that was her husband. He said that he was in importing and exporting. They said, well, how did you know it was Diddy? He said, I recognized his voice. And they were like, well, how come, well, basically, I'm paraphrasing, how come they didn't recognize the face? And they said because he had a bandana. He was sitting there in a white bathrobe with a bandana tied around his face this high, and he had a baseball cap on. Imagine walking in, seeing somebody with a bandana and a baseball cap in the corner, wanting to watch you, and you have he has a bathrobe on, and he's talking about he had exporting. Diddy, you better stop him effing playing. On top of that, right? He said when Cassie first answered the door, he said that I was in the court. I took notes. I know. If you want all the details, go ahead and watch my live. He said that he was in the court, and Cassie literally showed up with opened the door because they were like, oh, it's a bachelor party. He was expecting bachelorettes. He opened the door, it was just Cassie. She was wearing some stripper heels. She was wearing a red wig, and she was wearing red lingerie. And she was like, would you mind running a baby oil on me? And he looked at Cassie and he said, okay. And get this, she was supposed to pay him $200. She gave him $2,000. And she said, listen, do you mind if my husband's here? And he was like, what? And she's like, don't worry. My husband's not gay. He just likes to watch. And then he was like, oh, bet, because I'm not down with that. He said that Diddy, so what happened was that day, he paid the money. No, Cassie gave him $2,000 and said, yo, if you stay, I'll tip you, right? He said Diddy directed everything, told them what to do, where to touch that, told them to rub baby oil. Cassie was not in control, okay? So even if Cassie handed him the money, it was Diddy's money. Then when they were done, he said it was really quick. He gave Cassie gave him an extra $2,000. So I think he got like $4,000 or $5,000 for that thing. Cassie gave him like a couple of extra thousand as a tip. And then Diddy was like, yo, like me and your boss got beef. Do you mind if we contact you directly? And he was like, yeah, sure, why not? And then, this is the crazy part, sorry. He was like, yeah, sure, what's not? But the crazy part of this is that when that happened, he told Cassie, yo, get his number. Cassie got his number. The guy said, they were at the Gramercy Park Hotel. The guy said that he hit the street. Literally, just levels on the street. And Cassie texted him and was like, yo, send me a pic. And they were like, what'd you do? And he's like, I sent her pic. And then right after that, she called him and was like, yo, why don't you come back up? So he said, okay. And he came back up and he was up there for hours, dipping and diving, slipping and sliding, riding all the rides and sliding out all the slides with Cassie, while Diddy sat in the corner with that bandana and the hat and the bathrobe doing what he do. I know, you guys, listen, start following my lives. I'm giving y'all details nobody else has, right? Anyway, but here's the thing. They were in there for, I believe, the first part, if I'm not mistaken. However, it was only when they started to talk about Diddy getting violent to Cassie, they were just like, oh, why were they even there? I blame Diddy. You knew who was going to be on trial. But you need those daughters to show that you have a loving family. But at the end of the day, you just look like, also Diddy was in there looking like Bram Stoker's Dracula. I know he thought he looked like one of the vampires from Sinners. He had that little goatee on, fresh shape up. His hair was white, but he looked like one of the vampires from Sinners. He was trying to look like Cronward Christian soldiers, but he looked like one of the vampires from the movie Sinners. Anyway, bad vibes. They said Diddy's daughters, recent high school graduates, Chance Combs and 18-year-old daughters Delilah and Jesse, left the courtroom twice while he testified, each time during graphic accounts of sexual encounters, including a time where Diddy allegedly mama in a corner while he was having sex. Again, they were not gone the whole time. They just got up, then they came back in, then they got up. Jesse and Delilah had on all black with a center part and buns, and Chase looked like she dyed her hair auburn and had on all white. The whole family was black and white color coordinated. Prosecutors also played in court the hotel security footage from 2016 where Diddy is seen assaulting Cassie, shoving her to the ground and kicking her. She lay motionless. Now here's the gag. Teddy Garagos tried to make it seem like all he did was touch her back and pull her back. We don't know why this is happening. But the prosecutors, I actually really love this. The prosecutor sat there and was like, run it back? No. Can you run it back one more time? One more time? They kept asking them to rewind. So literally while we were sitting there, we saw Diddy going in on doing that vile stuff with Cassie. By the way, Cassie's husband was in the back the whole time, looking like, I know, like, the amount of self-control Alex has to have, because he looks so, as he should have, he looks so hot and he looks so bothered. And the fact that Diddy's whole defense team is just trying to make it into this is just what lovers do, they are insane. I will say Brian's doing well, but even then the facts, Maureen Comey, the head prosecutor, she's eating on that one. Anyway, they were, that's where they were. They remained in the courtroom. They kept coming in and out. Why were you here in the first place? On top of that, they said that, what else did he do? Oh, they said the freak-off parties were called Wild King Nights, freak-offs, or hotel nights. Wild King Nights, honestly though, that was the only night that Cassie got off. Diddy's team was also trying to say that Cassie's team, like, this is just what she was into. Even though they said at least once a week, Cassie had to go to a hotel and stay in a dark hotel room only lit by candles for 3 or 4 days at a time, ingesting so many narcotics that she would get sick. But they said this was her way of life. Anyway, they're going to have every misogynist in there to work that out. They also said that, also Diddy, to enhance his gray, his Bram Stoker's gray, he was wearing a gray sweater, gray pants, gray tie, doing that Steve Harvey thing, because the judge only said you can have 5 shirts, 5 pants, 2 pairs of shoes, and 5 pairs of socks. I hope they let him at least have 10 pairs of underwear. Anyway, right? Listen, go watch my live if you want all the details. But at the end of the day, yeah, it is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Anyway, I'll give y'all more details in a second. Talk to y'all later. Y'all know the deal. All right, talk to y'all later. Bye.